show you guys how to make chin chin. First of all, you measure out 2.5 cups of flour. That's 1 cup. And then you put it into a bowl where you can sift it. This is 2 cups. This is a 1/2 cup. While you're making the dough, it's important to heat up some oil. So now I'm just sifting the flour. Now I'm going to add like a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. You don't want to put too much baking powder because you don't want the chin chin to be too soft. So about 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of salt. The same thing, like a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. You don't want to put too much nutmeg because you don't want your whole chin chin to taste like nutmeg. Just about a 1/4 teaspoon. So right now we just mix all that together. So what I have is the flour, the salt, and the nutmeg. So I'm using a whisk to just whisk that together. Alright. So the next step is to add the sugar. So you just need a little bit less than a cup of sugar. So I'll say 3/4 of a cup of sugar for this amount. And I'm just going to whisk that together. So that's all the dry ingredients. The next step is the butter. We will need 5 tablespoons of butter. Take your whisk out. I'm using country crock margarine. You can use anything, any type of butter you want. Put about 5 tablespoons in here. 4 and 5. Okay. Then you put the butter in there. You just mix it with your hands. I just want to get close to see. Just mix it with your hands until it's crumbly, almost like how you do biscuits. Just mix it until it's like all the lumps have disappeared. Very easy to make chin chin, but you need to follow the steps. Don't think you could just throw everything together, because then it's not gonna have the same consistency. And make sure you get the measurements right, because if you put too much of anything, it's gonna ruin the taste. Okay, so now it's time for the wet ingredients. You need about 2 tablespoons of milk and 2 eggs. whisk, I'm just gonna whisk that together. And pour it into my dry ingredients. So when I'm done with that, I just now, all I'm doing is kneading it until I get a dough. And I'm just kneading it well. See how it's forming into a dough? There's a reason why I didn't put too much milk, because I didn't want it to be too sticky, so I don't have to worry about adding too much extra flour, because when you add extra flour into the chin chin dough, it detracts from the taste. It doesn't taste as good, so it's always best. It's hard, but it's always best to get it right at your first shot. So you see, the kneading doesn't take long. It just takes have patience. Keep working at it. It might feel sticky, but keep working at it. So you just keep doing this for, I don't know, for 1 minute. You don't have to over knead it. See how now it has come together as a dough, as a ball. And it's not sticky anymore. This is perfect. And even me, I make mistakes sometimes. Depending on the weather condition, it could be too dry, too soft. So I just put a little bit of flour over it. Now that I finished kneading it, so now it's ready to get ready to work with this dough. As I said, I have my fire on low. I initially had it on medium, but then I lowered it because I don't want the chin chin to burn when I'm frying. Time for me to fry this. Shape it up first. So, with this ball, I divide it into half. I'm going to work on half right now, and I'm going to work on the other half. So, the first thing I do is I sprinkle some flour on the board. Then I sprinkle some flour on a rolling pin. And some flour on a knife. Just so that when I'm cutting and rolling, nothing is going to be sticky. So now I just roll the flour into like a thin, you can roll it how thin you want it, but like, depending on what type, I'm going to be making a traditional kind of chin chin, so you don't want it too thin. So about, I would say, 1/4 of an inch thickness. And roll it out, roll the dough out into like, as best as a rectangle as you can get. So I'm using my hands and I form it into a rectangle. So this is good enough. So now I just cut it into like 4 huge strips. And I take each one and I just cut it into like diagonal shapes. So I've cut that into 4. Have patience with it. might not come out excellent on your first try. Keep trying.
That's right.
So this is cutting everything. The last one. Okay. So this is how you shape them. You can either use a knife or you could use your fingers. You just pinch a hole in the center, and then you just take the outside tip and push it through the hole, and you stretch it out like this. So you push it through the center, and then you push it through the hole, and you stretch it out.
Encore.
Just push it through the hole, and that's it. So I'm now just gonna fry this now. Just dump it in the oil. You should hear a sizzle. That's how you know it's sizzling. That's how you know the oil is hot enough. And once you put in the oil, you see how it's on low? You bring it back up to high, because you don't want it to cook more than like 3 minutes. Flip it now. See how it's turning a golden brown color? That's how it's supposed to be, nice and slow. If your oil was too hot, it will immediately look black right now. But this is how you know that the oil is not burnt and it's cooking the chin chin well. So this could take anywhere from 1 more minute tops. Now that I've turned the oil up to high, it's browning the chin chin quicker. Depending on what color you like, if you want it really, really dark, that's how long you leave it there. So you can see it's almost ready now. I could take it out now. It's a good color. So all I do is I lower the heat down to medium low. Take out the chin chin. It's good to strain it first, so all the excess oil comes out. That's how you make chin chin.
Watchman, Captain Benji on the microphone with Ben David, Manja and DJ 7. If you were born in January